From horsepower gains to custom enhancement, we deliver results. Late model Raccraft. We talking or we racing?
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Behind me, Mr. Goss's brand new 2024 C8 Corvette. I know we've done a lot of rapid blues in the past year or two, but it's another one for us. This one, though, is a little different. We do a lot of boosted applications. Y'all have seen twin turbos, superchargers. This one is a naturally aspirated setup. What that means, it's still the way it came from the factory. No supercharger, no boost, right? So what we do is we make the engine as efficient as possible, reliably. So this is our complete heads and cam package sitting behind me. This car baselined 419 rear wheel horsepower, which is a little bit on the low side. It's a newer car. Usually 430 to between 420 and 440, 435 rear wheel horsepower is the average on our dyno. This thing went from 419 to 500 rear wheel horsepower with our heads and cam package. So you're talking about an 80 rear wheel horsepower gain, naturally aspirated. Mr. Goss's goals were to have a badass running car for the weekend and then have it sound super kick-ass, right? So full heads and cams takes care of that. Obviously the long tube headers, American Racing, we kept stock cats on it, as well as our stainless catback exhaust system. He didn't want it super loud, but wanted to be able to hear it. So that's why we kept the stock cats in place. Obviously, if we put a high flow cat on there, we could have probably picked up a little bit more horsepower as well, but 500 rear wheel horsepower was our goal going into it, and we hit it on 93 octane. So again, guys, a quick rundown of the mods. This is a very labor intensive package that we do. Even though it sounds like, you know, heads and cam, people say that really easy and really quickly, like it's, oh, a heads and cam package. But in these cars, you have to lower the cradle, drop the engine, the whole drivetrain, engine, transmission, clutch, all come down. The engine has to be separated from the transmission and clutch. Then we have to completely disassemble the engine, okay? So cylinder heads off of it, lifters are out of it. We do a complete trunnion mod as well, so we actually modify the rocker arms that go back in it. The push rods have to be, we put a chrome moly push rod in it. We have to make sure the push rod length is correct, depending on the compression, if we milled the heads at all. There's a lot that goes into this build. And so, again, Mr. Goss is happy with 500 rear wheel horsepower. Most customers will be happy with 500 rear wheel horsepower after driving a stock one, but there's always that chance in the future of people wanting more. I've heard it a million times. I've been doing this for 20 years. Oh, I'm only gonna want this, and then 6 months later or a year later, they want more horsepower. So in my opinion, the only thing I would say to add to this car that we did not on this build is if you are thinking about a package like this, and there's a small chance that you might boost it later in the future, the only thing I would add is our drop-in forged pistons. Because we have the whole engine apart now while we're doing the heads and cam, now's the time to spend, I'm just gonna roughly $3,000 to do a forged piston in it with labor versus spending an extra $5,000 or $6,000 later down the road by having to pull the whole motor back apart to put the forged piston or forged rod in it at that time to then boost it, right? So there are several different ways to go about building these platforms though. And this one behind me is a perfect heads and cam setup with 500 rear wheel horsepower that is fun to drive and very reliable. Now again, the camshaft, when we install it, guys, there's several reasons for it, right? The camshaft makes it more efficient with the valve events. The cam that we do is more of a higher RPM cam. It picks up horsepower and torque across the entire board. But the direct injection motors like these behind me, the mechanical fuel pump rides on the camshaft, so there's a lifter in between it. So another plus to adding a camshaft to these cars is, again, right now it's just overkill for Mr. Goss, but later if you wanted to just throw the supercharger on it and not even change the pistons out, just right now he wanted a supercharger on it. We now have 32% more fuel for that mechanical fuel pump that he did not have previously. So again, it's another plus for looking into the future as well as having a badass car right now. So again, guys, kind of a list of mods of what we did to it to get to where we're at. And I always try to compare it to older LS and LT platforms. It's a badass car. You have the newest Corvette out there with 80 rear wheel horsepower over factory. It's very similar to our LS1, LS2, LS3, LS7 days of a full heads and cam package, picking up 60 to 110 rear wheel horsepower, depending on what we're doing to it. Reliably, of course, right, with 93 octane. So again, all in all, this car, I think it turned out phenomenal. I want to go drive it and let you guys hear it. Damn, that feels good. Factory tires, sounds so good. Again, another wonderful package that we offer here for the C8 platform Stingray. Because even this package here, Mr. Goss, we went, let's just say it's an 80 rear wheel horsepower gain on 93 octane, so it's now making over 500 rear wheel horsepower naturally aspirated, which again, it sounds like he's going to be happy with it and enough with it to enjoy and have fun with. But if ever down the road him or someone else in particular might want to boost it, we can take this package, put boost to it, and be okay. The only thing I would recommend, if there's a chance, those of you out there with a C8 interested in a package like this and sending it to us, if there's a chance you think that you might boost it in the future, the only thing I'd recommend talking to our sales staff about, let them know that, so while we have the engine apart for the cam package and everything, we can go ahead and drop in a forged set of pistons and maybe even a forged set of rods while we're there. That way, we're only pulling the motor out one time, and then you can bring it back. We can throw boost to it and really run as much boost as we want, depending on fuel system. But even in this condition right here, we could put 6 or 7 pounds of boost to this thing, make 650, 700 rear wheel horsepower pretty easily, if not more, again, depending on boost. But the factory pistons kind of are the limiting factor, where I want to keep these reliable. In a car like this, again, he can drive it every day, weekend toy, or if he wants to go out on a road course and beat on it, he can do that as well. Oh yeah. It starts going, it spun first, spun second. Again, that was track mode, traction control off, full launch control, so I'm leaving at 3,500 RPMs. If we left a little bit lower RPMs, it would have actually been quicker, like 0 to 60 times and stuff like that. But first gear spun, second gear spun, once it grabbed third, it took off and went. And y'all can hear it shifts phenomenal and drives awesome. Again, as always, guys, if y'all have questions, you C8 owners out there, please go to our website, fill out an inquiry. You can just type heads cam package for this if you're interested in it, and one of our sales staff will shoot you all the information you need to know about it. And again, it is a good starting point if you do want to do future mods in the future, like boosting it. Because again, this thing, you drive it, it's kind of hard to beat the way this thing sounds at idle, in my opinion. And it drives so nice. Let's get that AC rolling. And having that chop at idle, again, any stoplight you're at, people are gonna be staring at you in this thing. It's getting really dark, so I'm gonna head back to the shop, and I'll try to get a few little roll passes if I can, from like maybe second gear rolls, heading back. I can't believe how dark it's got. Also, just to show you guys how well these things drive, even with a large camshaft in it. This isn't a small camshaft, but coming to a stoplight, perfect. Idle RPM is perfect. It does have a little bit of rock to it, and this customer wanted some. It sounds phenomenal on the outside, which I know Jason will probably show a whole bunch of idle clips of this thing. It sounds so good. So it's essentially our full heads and cam package. So CNC cylinder head, our custom grind cam, as always, American Racing headers on his particular car, just because of the sound that he wanted. Again, we speak with all customers. Every car package we tweaked just a little bit. We kept the stock cats on it because he did want it to be camming and sound good, but he wanted it to not be too loud. So we did American Racing headers, stock cats, and as always, this one has our stainless our regular stainless catback exhaust system on it. And still a factory LT2 intake manifold. Again, we can go crazy and change different intakes and stuff like that later. But for the power and what this thing is, to me, again, guys, it's the perfect package to have for a weekend toy. And I'll kind of show you why here in a second. Oh my God, it's so dark. I have it in sport mode right now. Traction control is on, but let's just say someone, you know, getting a Mustang pulls up next to you, drop it down into second gear. So much fun. And here comes the storm. It is getting so dark. Holy crap. But that right there, again, you can just put it in second gear. Oh, I saw some lightning. Second gear from a roll, dead hooks and goes. It's when I took off from first is when it obviously spun really hard. But as always, guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. As always, comment below. I do actually read a lot of the comments. A lot of people don't think I do, so I either respond to them or Jason does, but I do like to read them all. So please comment below. Let me know what you think about this package in particular, and if it's something you'd be interested in or what you would want to change on it. And also comment what you would like to see for future videos. I wish I could show you guys. I'm about to drive through a tornado, so I'm gonna haul ass and get back to the shop before it gets bad. It's getting ready to come down. So until next time, guys.